This is a video I wanted to do last year, and actually the last couple years, especially last year since we got the new to us 2018 Ski-Doo. But what we want to do today is just kind of go over both snowmobiles. We have a 2018 Ski-Doo XRS Renegade that year, which is a 137 suspension, and we're going to compare it to the 2024 MXZ XRS, which is actually the 137 suspension. They dropped the Renegade badging in 2024 to put it solely on the 4-stroke line. So we're going to have a in-depth look at both sleds. We're going to talk about what's different, maybe what's not different on each sled, and talk about maybe some of the pros and cons to some of the changes and how much more vastly improved this model is in technology, handling, and everything. So let's get right to it, Drew. We're going to start with the 2018, and then we're just going to proceed right into the 2024. What are we looking at here, buddy?
So this here is a 2018 Renegade XRS 850. This was the first year that the 850 was available in an XRS package, so that's why this is a really good comparison that we're going to have. We're going to have this isn't the first XRS, but this is the first 850 XRS, comparing it to the newest last year. As we talked about before in an already uploaded video, there might be some people looking at getting used or new old stock 2024s or looking at used 850s right now. So I figure we'll get this video out to you guys and kind of just show us what our thoughts on the two machines are, what are the main differences, what did Skidoo change over the years, and what do we like, what do we don't like about each one. So
it is an 850 E-Tech. 165 horsepower is what they've actually advertised this as back in 2018, and some improvements were made over the 2017 models because there was complaints about clutch heating and belt problems in the 2017.
Oh, yeah.
That first year the Gen 4 came out, always there's growing pains, but I think it was more on the mountain sleds than there was on this one.
And that has a lot to do with the new P-Drive clutch they came out with the 850, which is a great clutch. But yeah, like you said, there's lots of growing pains with the new technology, and that was just one of the ones. And for the shock package, now this has Pro Action valving, so typically this would just be another KYB piggyback. But these are the KYB Pro 36 EA, the Easy Adjust. I don't remember how many positions you get with the knob on them.
I believe it's 21.
Is it 21 positions? Okay, so we'll go with that. We'll put it up on screen. If that number isn't correct, we'll get that. But these are an amazing shock. I think they were already using these in previous years on previous models, and these were the same shocks up until very recently when they switched to EA3, which is the 3 position where it's one knob and it goes just 1, 2, 3. So the EA3s are what you get on your new backcountries and your new MXZ X's and all that sort of stuff. But these are a great shock. I really like how they're performing. Obviously, it has the stage 3 valving, but we've had these shocks on other 850s before, and we've never had a single issue with them. They take huge bumps. They handle really well. I don't really know what else to say about them. They're a great shock. They had years upon years of engineering. Skidoo's been with KYB for probably almost close to 12, 13 years since I think the original XRS, and in 2011 they've used KYB shocks. So they're a really refined product, and there's a reason why they're sticking with the same sort of design.
One thing to point out on the 2018 is it also has the dampening adjust right here, as well as the rebound adjust at the top, and they actually dropped the damping adjust in the newer sleds. So if you're looking at a 2018 and you like adjustability of your shock package, that might be a selling feature for you, is the fact that we've got the dampening adjust on there. Moving down here, we've got this was the RAS, the RAS front end. It came with Pilot 5.7 skis, and we're going to talk a little bit about skis. We have the Koala Pieces roller skis attached here. That's an accessory that's not stock on this sled, but we'll point out what is and what isn't. And then,
sorry, I was just gonna make a point about these skis. So the Pilot 5.7 obviously has been in production for many, many, many years, and honestly, I think they're an amazing ski. I wouldn't touch them. I'd just throw a good set of carbides on them and leave it at that. For anybody interested in what these are capable of, we have Koala Pieces 8-inch Treks on here, and it handles like it's on rails, and it has power steering, super light steering, super great. So if you're looking into getting a pre-Pilot X, which we'll get into in a few minutes here, if you're looking into getting something that's 2020 or older, the Pilot 5.7 is a fine ski. I wouldn't change them. I just put a good set of carbides on them and a good suspension setup. So let's move up to the dash area here. So this gauge is another thing that Skidoo's been, or I guess Bombardier has actually been really proud of for many years. I think this was a 2016 on the Skidoos. It's been used in the Sea-Doos, and it was used in the Maverick X3 all the way up until 2019 as well. So I'll just pop it on for a second so everyone knows. It's very similar to the gauge you get on your Rev XP. But yeah, I think it's a great gauge. There's a reason why they used it so many years and didn't change it. Obviously they went digital later on, but it's a tried and true Bombardier gauge. If you're familiar with the Bombardier product, you've seen this gauge.
Yeah, this was a premium gauge. You'd only get it on XRS and X package models with the digital in the middle, and it gives you a lot more control.
That's right, I did forget, yes. So if you get a non-XRS or X, it comes with a gauge that doesn't have the digital. It's just a tack and a speedo. So
it's a beautiful gauge. Also, let's look at staying up on the front end here. We've got the control block. You can see here, it's a classic control block. You've got your handlebar warmer, your thumb warmer adjust here. You've got your start and your reverse, and then high and low beam, of course, and your mode set button is up top here as well. So you can activate the gauge features with that. We've got your standard brake lever here with the park and brake lock on it. And one thing here that you'll see is this is the forward adjustable riser.
So when you got your 2018 sled, this was it was an accessory that came with it. You can go buy them and add them to other sleds, but if it was an XRS in 2018, it did come with this. The way it works is you pull out on this and then see how you can kind of rock it. There's a whole bunch of positions. One, there's another one, and I missed one all the way back here as well.
Yeah, one way back.
Oops.
If you're ever riding and your hands go numb when you're riding, it's this feature I always like, because you can change the handlebar position, and it kind of alleviates that numbness in your hands. Throughout the day, you might want to just sit back and cruise. You can put it right back like a low rider, or you can, if you want to push it way forward, you can get more weight up on those skis, and it'll really rock.
Yep. Another thing too, they do also sell riser blocks for these. So if you like, because I know that was the thing, is they went from the old adjustable riser was a big flip lever, and it just went up and down. And a lot of people like a taller riser and being able to adjust that. So they did actually make riser blocks, and you can actually still get a lot of height adjustment, because if you actually see when I'm moving it, see the bars actually do go up and down. I'm 6 feet tall. Like, I know a lot of guys that are even my height, like my dad here put riser blocks on his 2022. I think it's 2023 as well. Yeah. 23 had them as well. But I'm 6 feet tall, and I do a little bit of crossover, and I find this is a fine riser height. Like, I don't find, like, even at your point when you're gonna be standing on your back running boards, or you're coming over to the side and lifting it up, I find it's a fine height. So that's a good point. That's something I just wanted to mention for people that are wondering about it. So
well, in the cockpit here, we've also got the new LED signal lights. That wasn't an option back then. That's something we put on now. This was kind of a standard issue BRP helmet plug for your heated shields. And then what you'll see here is this came out in 21 or 22 is the E-Link for your helmet charging, and that's what we've added here. But DES was standard on all the 2017, 2018. Well, I think it came out earlier than that. But this is a digitally encoded security system. This key has a near field infrared in it or something like that. I'm no scientist, but it's a little bit of BRP magic that is simple and easy to use, and away you go.
The best benefit of this plug over the standard old style of like Dead Man's Key, where it had a piece of metal, like a magnet in it, is that you're not sitting going like this. If you're familiar with the Skidoo, you've definitely seen people doing this, and you'll be beep, beep, check DES, and you're doing that. This, it just goes on because it's a ball, it just snaps on. And yeah, that's another thing. They've been using that since the start of the XS chassis, and it's been on every BRP product.
Storage up front here, we have the a little glove box up here. It's not little. I mean, there's quite a bit of room in there, as you can see. There's a headlight adjust there, and then we added the BRP USB charging port, so it's a dual port. That would have been an option back in the day. We just added that recently. Also, too, the windshield options. The stock XRS came with this. We call it the bikini on Mudbrats, but it's a blade. It's a blade that actually attaches. But there's lots of options for windshields using their quick release. You can add in a medium, a low, medium, high, whatever windshield you want. And then it has these flaps to remove. So if you want to put extra wind protection on the sled, you can. Yep. Personally, we like the look, and we don't mind the wind on our chest with the blades, so we just leave it at that.
I've always found that with a typical windshield, it directs it like this, and if you're standing up or a taller rider, it's going right into your face mask. This, it goes to my chest, yep. Where you have a tech vest and 6 layers of clothing on, even in cold weather, you don't feel it. So, no. And also the look benefit too. I think this looks killer with a blade on it. Another standard option on XRSs in this year was the fixed toe holds that mount. You have one on each side, and the whole idea of it is it's for in-cornering, to be able to hook your feet in so you can lean out better.
They also, the Gen 4 has an open toe here, so your boot sits here, and you can tip your foot out for cornering. This is something that you can hook your toes on with your boots to give you more stability in the corners as well. The seat is branded with XRS. You can see it's embossed, and it had like a carbon fiber type pattern in the vinyl.
Gets this as well.
And it also has the nice XRS branding on the tag. They actually really did it. This is the Cadillac. Even still today, it is the top of the line model that you can get. And it shows, like it really does. It shows. Disc brake up front.
2-piston Brembo brake.
Yep.
Great brake.
And easy to service. It's right there. The side panel opens up with very easy, just three clips here, like that. And then you can grab in there and open the side panel. And then we've got, let's take this right off. If you take note here, this is the way the oil container looks on the 2017, 2018, 19, 2021. I think 22 is when they actually changed it. And let's pop that clutch door off and just have a look at the P-drive clutch. Because if you're riding a sled now with a TRA, you're going to notice some differences. This is the P-drive clutch. You can see ours needs to be clean. It's been sitting in a trailer, and it's starting to get some oxidization on it. But we service these clutches. We have backyard rec service and clean them every fall anyway, so we're good to go. But this is the P-drive clutch. You'll see it looks a lot different than the TRA. The secondary remains unchanged from the XS chassis, but you can kind of see everything's fairly easy to access for clutch and the injector oil. And we've got a tunnel protector on here, which is an option. That's only been an option on newer models. We just added that this year. And we've got the link brackets, and back in that day they were an option as well, where they come standard on all the new Skidoo sleds. They include all the link brackets. This is not included though. That's an extra one we added for the rear seat bag. So lots of accessories with link, and it's a great system.
And for those who are unaware, who've never seen one of these machines before, this is actually where your battery sits on Gen 4 and Gen 5. So you take off the 2 Torx screws, and this whole cover will slide right back. Thinking, I got to carry a Torx bit with me. Well, it's actually the same as the on your clutch tool, which is on our side panel. I mean, whatever. The clutch tool that you thread into your clutch is actually a Torx ended on it now, so that'll take that off. So the skid in this is the 137 R motion. Not new for this year, but it does obviously have the KYB Pro 40 Easy Adjust on it. Has has 2 adjustment points at the back and at the front as well. For the front shock doesn't adjust, and for the rear shock doesn't adjust. I think it's the same 21 positions as the front. It's a great skid. Honestly, it rides amazing. Again, this one has some valving done to it, but I was yet to bottom this sled out this year. Even in riding really hard whoops, I never heard it clack up super hard. So let's move on to the track. This was not an option for this sled. This was something that we did. This is a 1.35 Cobra non-studded that we put 144 fast track Top Gun SP studs. For actual options in 2018, you had a 1.25 Ripsaw, a 1.5 Ice Ripper, and a 1.6 Ice Cobra. This sled had a 1.6 Ice Cobra on it, and if you know anything about these tracks, the Cobra tracks, they love to break and spit lugs out, and yeah, that one was pretty brittle. So if you're gonna go look at one and it has a 1.6 Ice Cobra on it, really inspect that track, and if it has, oh yeah, see how they're really, you're right there, how they're really brittle and flimsy. Because the track, this actually, like, they'll actually, when you move, these will bend over, and it's, I don't know, it's a really soft ply track, I guess, soft compound track. I guess that's the same with any paddle track, though, when you're riding on trail. So that's just, so if you're looking at one of these and it has a 1.6 Ice Cobra on it, go take a look at that track. You might have to throw a new one on, and it might be even worth it. If you think you're going to keep it for a few years, why try to get another season out of a crappy track, right? I shouldn't say crappy, I should say poorly made track. The 1.6 Ice Cobra hooked up really well without studs and had okay cooling as well. It's just, it was falling apart on us.
Yeah, they tend to do that.
Yeah.
So if you look at the tunnel and basically from the cab back on both these sleds, they're nearly identical. I mean, the tunnels are unchanged. You can see it's the same taillight. You can even see the pattern in the footwells is identical between the two sleds. Up front is where they made the change, and underneath.
So what do we have here?
We have a 2024 Ski-Doo XRS MXZ with a 137 skid on it. This thing is amazing. It's a beast. It's high tech. It's got all the bells and whistles you'd ever need. This is a premium sled. It's a great snowmobile for anybody, regardless of their skill level. It rides like a dream. And we're going to get right into that for sure. So coming from the Gen 4 to the Gen 5, the biggest change right off the bat is the LED headlights. They come out with, we have LED options. We had the motojungle.ca B2 Stingers, which we've upgraded in all of our sleds since we had the XPs back in the early days. We were overjoyed to see them in the Gen 5 chassis, and they work really well. So no complaints with the LED headlights, and it looks cool. If you're comparing an XP to say an XS, you remember how they were really squared off looking in XP, almost like a stealth bomber, and then they went into a more rounded profile for the XS. That's kind of what I'm thinking when you compare these two. You can see how much more rounded and ergonomically looking this Gen 5 is, and I really like the styling of it.
This is my favorite part.
Yeah, like it's got a real animal look to it regardless of the wicked wrap on it. Plus they've done things like this, we talked about it in one of the recent videos, where they've actually done body styling similar to what you'd find on an exotic race car, you know. So coming down here, this is what they call the RAS RX. So they made drastic improvements in the front end on this thing. They have also introduced the Smart Shocks, which is it's a semi-active automatic adjusting shock. We're going to get into the controls on this. There's basically a 3-position, some of them had switches, but this is in the dash. There's 3 positions you can choose. There's Comfort, which is plush like a Cadillac. There's Sport, like a Mustang. And then there's Sport Plus, which would be more like a Ferrari or a Grand Prix car. I love this shock setup. It's so simple. It's a great choice for guys that don't like to tinker and adjust. You'll know there's a trend happening right now with Skidoo in the 2025 model year. The 2024 competition, they didn't offer the Smart Shocks on it. They come out with a Pro 40 adjustable shock, and it made people fall in love with that adjustment like we got on the 2018 all over again. 2025 brings new blood in it, and they've introduced the Smart Shocks back onto the comp, as well as the option to have the adjustable shocks. So it'll be interesting to see how that battle plays out. But for those guys like me that don't really like to tinker too much with the suspension, the Smart Shocks is an amazing product. Moving downward here, we've got the Pilot X Ski. This thing came out with a different keel design, and the Pilot X Ski is designed to actually really perform well with the Raz X A-arms and front end design. It's a great package. You get very minimal roll with this design, and it handles like a cat on a carpet. Coming up on the dash here, we have a 10.25 inch multi-function gauge. So everything is at your fingertips here. It's nice and bright and easy to see. We've got here our shock adjustment here. There's your 3: Comfort, Sport, and Sport Plus. You can actually hit the mode selector here and you can adjust for maps or your stats. You've got all your gauges, all that kind of stuff.
So if you're on the dash, watch this. Hold down on the top, then you got your battery voltage, hold it down again. You get your coolant temperature, and then back. So it's kind of cool. There's lots of, or nothing if you don't want anything, but there's lots of adjustability. Same thing if you have it in the small mode, which is when you'll have your maps open. See, that is RPM in kilometers an hour. If you hold that down, you can change that to just kilometers an hour, or the stacker.
It's a fun gauge. Like, I mean, and you have all kinds of options for your controls, your heated handlebar controls. We have everything here, your preferences. So if you want to go into dark mode, you can. I have it set at auto. So in the daytime, it's bright, it's light color, and then at night it goes dark. Or you can have it dark all the time if that's your thing.
It's got Bluetooth set up for connecting your comm systems, whether you got Uclear or any other brands. You can set up your comm system with it. Wi-Fi, which you need to do the software updates on them, which come out once a season. There's everything you can change. You no longer do you have to plug a machine into buds to change your units from metric to imperial, which is kind of cool. Software updates. This is, if you want, well, so this little button here, that's when you press that and the little thing came up at the top. If, let's say, you don't really care to have a quick button to hit the, if you don't want to have a quick button to access stats or gauge, you just want it to be able to do just navigation or just your media, then you can have it set up that way.
Yeah, the nice thing is it's fully adjustable, and it's a beautiful dash to look at when you're riding, especially if you like running maps. It's great to have 2/3 of that screen running a map, and you can see there's lots of features with that. If you want just a visual of what the temperature is, or if you want to press it and get the actual, if you want to hold down on it and get the actual temperature, you can do that. So moving to the block, if you remember the block on the 2018, it was much more analogish. So in here we only have one button for the heated. So you could see earlier where I showed you how to see the ratio you can change between the thumb and the handlebar. This only lets you go down in temperature, and then when you hit low, it'll go back to up to full temp, but you have to set the ratio of the thumb and the handlebar. Your Smart Shocks and your volume control. This is for if you want to use like a Siri or to hit your comm, you can do that. Your high-low beam and your reverse setting here, and then this is also for navigating on the gauge, so it's pretty cool. So my 23 actually had forward adjustable riser, and in 24 they actually went back to the standard fixed riser. I was actually kind of bummed to not see the adjustable riser on there, and I was going to put one on, but actually ergonomically this height was actually perfect, so I didn't end up changing it because it was working so well. Moving over here, we have an adjustable brake lever, so you can actually turn this in. You can see it's going further away from the handlebar, and now it's getting closer. So you can turn this in so that you can actually just drive it like a bike with just 1 or 2 fingers on that brake lever to activate. And the best part about that brake, it's actually a 4-piston Brembo now instead of a 2-piston, and it's so buttery smooth and easy to scrub off speed. That 1-finger braking is all that you need to worry about. It's so nice. It's one of those things that's so intuitive that you don't even think about it. It's something that it's buttery smooth, and you just realize the love for it. That's for sure.
Obviously easy to adjust on the fly as well.
Yeah, it is. And that's if you have, you know, you want someone else to ride that may not have big hands, you can actually adjust it to their hand side. I think it's not only a nice comfort feature, it's a big safety feature, and I love seeing that from BRP. Up here we've got the storage compartment here, and with the large gauges, you've got an iPhone pouch, so you can set it's heated, so you can set your iPhone in there, and it zips closed, so to keep it nice and protected. I don't find that I get any snow in this trunk lid, like you may have experienced on the old XS and earlier sleds with the plastic lids. This one here stays pretty clean and dry inside, and that heated phone bag is amazing, and it really does work. Your phone is warm when you pull it out. It's a really nice system. Moving over here, we actually have the desk system again, unchanged from 2018, but what has changed is the E-Link for your helmet charging. They've changed it to a little foot process, and instead of a rubber flap, it's a nice plastic lid that's magnet shut. So if you don't use that, you don't have to worry about it flapping open in the snow. It's got a little magnet to hold it shut. And again, it just clips on just as easy and always finds its home just like the older style did. Again, we have the LED signal lights. That is a feature that BRP came out with this year. Option for all sleds. I love it. You've heard me talk about it. You've seen us install them. I hope everybody buys this system next year. And talk about the seat. It's branded XRS. It's actually an imprint on the seat. I do like this little leather look back to it, but the seat material is kind of the same. I don't think the seat has changed much, as you can see from the older one. It still has the carbon looking infill panels on the side, wear and tear, but it doesn't have the XRS emboss in it, which I really kind of like that on the 2018. So we have the same thing. Like I said, the tunnel from the cab back is kind of unchanged in the metal of this sled, in the aluminum. It's identical to the 2018. You won't see any surprises with that. Getting down here, we have the R-Motion X rear skid, and it gives you the smart shocks, Pro 40 rear. They still are adjustable like the 2018, but they have the smart shock adjust on the fly dynamic suspension. I always choose the 1 1/4 ripsaw track. It is a single ply, and we put 144 Fast Track SP studs in it. Exact same studs that we put in the Cobra. The R-Motion X skid is totally redesigned from the R-Motion skid. So it's got longer arms. It gives you an extra inch of travel compared to the R-Motion, and it gives you an allowance here. I'm going to come over here because the big key with this is the suspension was designed to give you more ski pressure and more precise handling. And what they've done here is they've also given you a little adjustment that you can do to actually make it more, less pressure, more playful, or you can move it to where it is now where there's more pressure and less playful. It gives you that option to do it, but this skid means business when you've got it in an XRS like this. So it may look the same on the surface, but it's a totally redesigned component on this machine that's purpose built for the 137 model Ski-Doos.
The new bogey wheel design.
Yeah,
these.
Yep, and you can go back, you can see it's a lot more stylish design. Although these sleds they have had their bath, but they haven't had their final cleanup and polishing and waxing and that kind of thing. So I apologize if you're looking at some things that are a little abnormal. But yeah, so just in general, the night and day from getting off of a 2018 and hopping on the 2024, you will feel the difference, you will see the difference, and away you go. Horsepower rating, the engine is unchanged as far as the horsepower goes. They didn't publish any more horsepower. You're probably wondering, well, which one's faster? We talked about that today. We didn't actually line them up on the lake this year. I actually didn't even push this to get a top speed out of it. What did you say that you seen on your dash, on your Dreamometer?
Mine was flashing 185 to 190. It was jumping between them because we were on a lake, so like
Yeah.
an icy lake, so there wasn't a lot of grip. But
Yeah, so, I mean, top speed, you know, which one's faster? There's a lot of things come into play. What track you're running, who's pushing the fun flipper. There's so many variables that you can't say one's faster than the other. You know, I'm sure maybe the 24 should be because it's a newer engine. I'm not sure, but maybe the 2020, maybe the 2018 would walk it all over it because it's got some different things done to it. Is the clutch set up? Are you running the same belts as, you know what I mean?
Stiffness.
Yeah,
Is Smart Shocks helping you with the launch? Is it making the launch worse?
Yeah, you don't know. Like, there's so many variables with it. It's not something what we will even address. They both will straighten your arms, and they both will put a grin on your face. They'll
both do 50 kilometers an hour or 70 kilometers an hour pretty quick.
So come on up here. We're going to take off the side panel and have a look at the changes in here. The side panel is a little bit different in the sense that there's two flaps to open this one up, and the side panel comes off like that. The P-drive clutch I won't show you. It's identical to what we've seen in the other one. You can see they've changed the clutch cover. They've improved the venting on it. That was the other thing that the 2018 had, was they actually did a vented secondary on it because of the belt issues they had. And you'll notice with the oil reservoir, they've actually angled the opening on it, and they've improved the lid on the injector oil, so it's a lot easier. It leaks less. Look at how much cleaner this one is than the old one. The old one does leak if you're not careful, and the old one is very easy to cross-thread that lid. So the improvements like that keep oil off your belt, keep oil off your clutches. It's all for the good, and it's nice to see, even though they're not that many years apart. That to me is a major change. Point out here, there's this little hole here. You'll see there's a flap right here, the pin on this. You have to make sure that you put that pin in that hole when you close the door, or you could end up scratching your panel. Handguards are smoked. We've got a little bit of a low windshield here instead of the blade. It still doesn't give you much wind protection, but I don't mind that. I like the styling. I'm more for beauty over function any day. Styling wise is great. The Smart Shocks is unmatched in the industry as far as I know. Polaris just launched their version of it this year. I'll be interested to see how that goes with them. But Smart Shocks have been around for a while. Long before snowmobiles, they're running on their Can-Am side-by-sides and having great success. Never any issues with them freezing up, never any issue with them not working, and I can't even explain to you how instant, when you flip that button for Comfort to Sport Plus, it is instantly stiffer or instantly softer. It's an instant reaction, and the Smart Shocks monitor the trail 500 times a second, and they will adjust on their own to that. So you hit a bump, it's already made the thought and adjust that shock for you, that bound or dampening of that bump. So you are laughing all the way with this. Beautiful sled, highly recommend it. It's been problem-free. I don't know what else to say about it. It's pretty awesome. Hopefully you enjoyed that walk around on the 2018 versus the 2024 Ski-Doo XRS 850. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment below. If you see anything that we missed during this overview, be sure to let us know. Reach out to us if you need anything, if you have any questions. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Hit that like button and enjoy the ride. Something like that.